The Four Wingmen. A look at the four styles of wingers in the USMNT pool. For the better part of the past 2 decades, the USMNT has suffered from a serious shortage of talented wingers. For years, creativity and goals came from one man on the wing, Landon Donovan. After his retirement, the American flanks had a bit of a dark era. With no Donovan, players like Graham Zusi and Alejandro Bedoya had to fill in, and while both were good, neither had the potential to become consistent threats, let alone becoming elite wingers. However, in recent years, a number of talented winger prospects have burst onto the scene. The most obvious, of course, is Christian Pulisic. But unlike in years past, Pulisic is far from the only option out wide anymore. There are now a plethora of options at Berhalter's disposal every single camp. Depending on how he wants to play on the day, Berhalter can choose to deploy 4 categories of wingers: dribblers, runners, workers, or creators. Now, let's break down each of these 4 groups. First, the dribblers. The dribblers are what you picture when you hear the word wide player. Pulisic is the perfect example. But there are also a few players in the pool who match this style of play as well. Uli Yanez, Conrad De La Fuente, and Chris Muller, to name a few. This style is undoubtedly the most popular type of winger, due to the fact that it's effective regardless of the opponent's tactics, bringing speed, unpredictability, and opening of space by winning one-on-ones. The second category, the runners, are a bit more specialized. They are great for games where you want to play on the counterattack or when midfield space is at a premium. These players typically have a knack for finding the net as well. Leaders of this group are Jordan Morris and Timothy Weah. The third category, the workers, are a group from a bygone era. This type of player does not offer much going to goal, but they are extremely helpful when the team is in need of some defensive solidity. While not nearly as exciting as the dribblers, every team needs a worker. A person on the flanks who is versatile and runs their socks off chasing both ends of the ball, which is what makes Paul Arriola so valuable to our player pool. And finally, the last group. A player profile that Berhalter has really taken a liking to is none other than the creators. These players are great for when the US is struggling to break down a defensive low block or really wants to dominate the game. They are excellent in maintaining possession on the wings and always look to cut in to slide a pass in or have a pop on goal themselves. Notably, they also push to make late runs in the box to offer another point of attack. The Americans currently establishing themselves in these roles are Gio Reyna, Richie Ledesma, and Brenden Aaronson. When looking at all of the options the USMNT suddenly has out wide, it's hard to imagine that we were once struggling to find viable options for these roles. No longer are we forced to play defensive-minded players further up the pitch. Instead, we can now play our wingers based on the style of play we are aiming to accomplish in each game.